Okay, so we should probably actually be discussing EVE Online. I think that is that a subtle segue? I think it's definitely...
That's definitely a segue.
Okay.
So we have our wonderful Google Doc of notes here. So our beginning thing that we're going to start with is kind of... so there was an article that came out, I guess it was 4 or 5 days now. Nully lost some supers to Stain Wagon?
Yes.
What are they doing in Stain Wagon? What are they doing over there and losing supers to them for?
The Russians have always lived in Stain.
Right.
But Nully Secunda has been living down there for the past 3 months, I think, defending their moons and Sav against the Russians that are coming out of Stain into Esoteria.
Laz, did you manage to put the chat window for Twitch into your bottom left-hand corner of your screen?
Wow, I mean, looking down at it, you mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I was just wondering. We can't see your beautiful round face all the time. That makes me sad.
Yeah. It's fixed now.
Okay, that's good.
Yes.
Please continue.
Okay, yeah. So basically, the Stain Russians are moving or attacking Esoteria, and in the past week and a half, Nully Secunda has kind of gotten together with Brave, and they're pushing against the Russian R-64s and using Brave's numbers to kind of combat the Russian subcapital numbers.
I think in technical terms, we call this a meat shield tactic.
Yeah, pretty much. They're using Brave as a meat shield to help supplement their Slowcat numbers, because over the past 2 weeks there's been nothing but dropping carriers on top of the Russians. And this time when they lost supers on Monday, they actually dropped Slowcats, and it was early enough in Russian Prime that Russians were able to drop a bunch of supers on them and grab a few super kills out of it.
Oh, nice.
It's been a while since we've actually had a legitimate supercap fight of any kind in the post-Phoebe environment, so that was kind of an interesting outbreak. It's been a really kind of a weird season in terms of soft war and just in general conflicts between alliances, because it doesn't really seem, everybody is waiting in the wings to find out whether there's going to be a new soft system. Laz has done something with his screen.
It looks like there was light,
where it's just he's turned himself into an absolute ghost now.
It looks as though it's shining down on him right now, like he's speaking. And
I'm actually looking, and the sun had just has crested over a tree outside, and there's even more light coming from my window.
Okay, so now we haven't seen much in the way of conflict. Some alliances have been redeploying. I guess in terms of nullsec news, the most action we've seen in the last couple of weeks was, of course, the conflict in Immensea, where you had Laz and a very small CFC deployment, sort of getting into the middle of a conflict between, Initiative was over there, also part of the CFC, and the Russians versus N3. Kind of this slow boil thing of doesn't seem to be much trading hands. The only other real thing that we've got right now is that there's some action in Aquarius, sort of, with people blowing up undefended iHubs and things like that. And Black Legion is redeployed from wherever they were to N5Y back in Venal onto the doorstep of the CFC. So that could be interesting. But besides the fight a couple weeks ago where Nully managed to lose those supers.
That was this week.
This week. My time scale is messed up because of
I
the
understand.
whole Chicago
it's
thing.
Fine.
But, it's just everybody's just waiting until Fanfest to see whether there's going to be some sort of new SOV system that will change things, and I think everybody's just kind of holding their breath.
Well, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want to go take SOV if I knew that there was a big SOV change on CCP's mind that would be coming out soon. I mean, Fanfest is obviously a very obvious place for that sort of news to come through, because it's just so
with all the Jovian assets and
right?
stuff that we're starting to see showing up on CC and Chaos. It does seem to be that that's the obvious thing. They're going to have drifters or whatever in this upcoming Tiamat patch, and it's funny. This is one of the things that we actually listed that we wanted to talk about and go through. Is they've got the basically you describe the main changes in this patch, which is I think the last patch before Fanfest. As you got drifters and you got the Svipul, however the hell you pronounce the next
Svipul.
Svipul. That sounds vaguely obscene. I don't want to say Zvipple because I'm afraid I'm on live TV and like
Maybe it is people. I don't know. I
Zvipple.
don't.
Like,
Zvipple? That's how I would pronounce it. I don't know.
Scarpia posted something like of him pronouncing it, of how it's technically supposed to be pronounced. So I haven't actually listened to it, so I'm just going to go with whatever the hell comes out that time when I say it.
I'm sure it'll be one of those long time things like Gia or Hia or Gila or Scimitar or Scimitar or one of those other things that are constantly getting mispronounced.
That's definitely scimitar, not scimitar.
It is absolutely Scimitar. There's no question. That
what people thought that was scimitar. Like, do you English? Come on.
Yeah, no, that's
I guess some people don't. That's not nice, but
Hey baby, show me your Svipple. As somebody from chat is asking.
that is. I don't.
Laz's Svipple, and that's. I don't. It sounds gross. Like I said, I mean, it sounds like somebody's.
Him saying that put it in my head in the way that you guys have been saying
it. Makes it sound like a nipple. Like
I get it now. I get it.
There's no polite way to get around that. So yeah, good times. But I mean, that's what we have for this patch, right? Whoa, there goes a pin. Exciting. We have things falling all over the place.
Yes. So the basic TLDR then, really, for as far as CCP's like content is going, especially as far as Tiamat is concerned, is that there's nothing really going on in Tiamat. I mean, we've got this Whipple. It's exciting. I'm excited.
There's a projectile turret rebalance. There's a lot of cool character stuff. I mean, the assets
for sure
about the Jovians are exciting. That's what we talked about on the last show a lot.
But I'm excited for it. Some people are like, okay, that's cool, I guess. Like, I don't know. It's just, we're still waiting for whatever these soft changes are supposed to be. We still don't have any information on them. We still have no idea what's happening. So the big news is essentially that we're still waiting for Sov.
Woo!
That's the big news.
That story in Eve ever since Phoebe happened, essentially. The thing about the Drifters that's interesting is we don't really know the mechanics. Like, they show up, we see from what the people have been testing on CC, the test server, that they have some sort of ridiculous super weapon like the Lex Contos, which is what we were showing on the show last time. We were finding these things live and putting them up on stream. And early reports showed that they were insanely damaging. And then they boosted them even further on a recent test server patch to the point where they're just like zotting like carriers inside of like 2 shots or something. So I'm not sure whether it's that bad, but it's ridiculous. And the question is, are these things going to be dropping loot? Are they showing up in particular sites? Is this just some sort of like a lore and role playing thing, and you're not supposed to actually be able to whack these guys? What do we get from them? Do we build something from them? Maybe they drop. Who knows?
Better get ships.
Maybe they drop the components that you need to build Stargates.
Right? Better get
that goes into something. Yeah, that's actually a good point. Is that if they're adding all these amazing assets for like drifter battleships or something, obviously players are going to want like a decommissioned one that doesn't have a double shot like super weapon on it or something.
That's a good point.
I mean, I'd be pretty pissed if we don't at least get to fly, or like, because like every other faction race, you have the battleships for, like the Vindicators and Nightmares and stuff. So why can't we have a drifter battleship?
Right?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I think I
would fly it even if it were useless because it's beautiful.
I think it's got to be. I'm still putting my money on. Like I said on the last show, like. You don't put your art department to putting all this work in unless you're going to announce a Jovian race, right? If you're just making NPC battleships with some funky lore stuff, you don't make the Incarna models, right? And we've found, like, the assets and they've added more development on them. There's textures on these servers that players have discovered and published showing, here's a Jovian space dude, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm. So the only reason, unless it's some, like, art guys... I'm bored and stuck in Iceland in the winter, and so here's my hobby project. The only reason to have that is to eventually making a pathway towards playable Jovian characters.
CCP, please.
So maybe now we get drifters, and then at FanFest, hey guys, big Jovian reveal, we can get into Jovian space going through special wormholes or something or whatever. And then when CCP decides that they really want to make money, like a lot of money, hint, hint, business guys at the company, because I have to kind of spell that out. You let people have playable Jovian characters, and everybody buys a new account. I mean, it's just like, you can only ring that particular cash register once, but a slow build-up of hype, a big reveal at FanFest, build up demand, show off a bunch of new ships for NPCs, and kind of like with Nystrik here, she's like, I want to fly one right now. I want to fly one. I want to fly one.
Even if it's bad, I will fly it. Let me fly it.
Show these cool new ships, and then one day, you flick the switch, you open the floodgates, and say, hey, you can now make a new playable character. But
Right.
And then everyone who plays Eve, every single person, just gets a new account.
No, it'll still be. FanFest will be probably largely Jovian stuff, and then maybe some Sov. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
I really want to know what's going on with that, like, really bad.
What, with
The
Sov stuff?
They've been promising Sov info, dev blogs, posts since November. And they promised we'd have info about it immediately following the CSM meeting that happened 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. There was only one line in the CSM blog that actually, like in the CSM minutes, that related to what they were talking about that wasn't NDA'd out. And I'm wondering if one of our viewers might be able to actually dig up that line. If I remember correctly, it was something about spreading fights around a constellation or something or other, making fights less whatever, which is something that people have been saying for years, off and on. The hard fact about Sov and Sov revamps, and this is something that I've said for years, because people will often ask me, what do you think Sov should be like? The hard fact is that if there was a good, obvious Sov system that everybody already knew about and could agree on, hey, this would be a better system, it would have been implemented years ago, and the community would have rallied around behind it. Nobody knows what to do about Sov, and there's no one good system. Simply because it's this extraordinarily complicated mess. It's not like, there's a file folder here. Some of these things are no-brainers, right? It's not that you just pull this file folder out and go like, oh, here's a soft system that everybody wanted for years, now we'll implement it, right? Like getting rid of clone costs, no-brainer, good sense, wonderful, do it. There's a lot of other quick fix things like that again, no-brainer, everybody likes it. Sov stuff, mess. No easy, obvious solution. I imagine that CCP, here's what my guess is, and I don't have any kind of insider information, but I know how the company works, and I know how people work, and I've seen the Sov Song and Dance before. My guess is that they presented an idea to the CSM, and they told everybody that they were going to post it on features and ideas and do all these other things, and then they looked at it again when they were getting ready to post it in public and said, wait a second, this is actually, here's this problem or here's that problem. We can't actually go public with this, otherwise we'll get torn to shreds. Because that's how it usually is. Somebody will have a good idea, you have to have a couple of days of soak time, and you go, wait a second, this entire system will be completely destroyed if X, Y, and Z happens. It's
also possible that the CSM was presented with this idea and went, no? What? No? Why did you what? That's a possibility.
If they were presented with the idea and they said this is, again, just total guessing game. If they were presented with this idea and they said this is brilliant, we love it, you would think that CCP would rush to the press immediately. Say, hey guys, look, the CSM loved this. This is a great idea. We got great feedback, great uptake. Because they want to do a victory lap. Everybody loves wins.
Right.
So I have no idea what's going on there. But,
the main problem right now is you don't see these wars going on over Sov because Sov's not worth taking. And for, as an FC, a Sov war requires basically someone to be a full-time job where 24/7 they're doing nothing but managing what's going on with the war. And it literally is a job trying to run a war.
I think that's actually, that brings up a broader point when we're talking about Sov and CCP and design, is that there's no Sov warriors left at that company. One of the things that we saw, CCP has hired in the past people who are player experts in their field. Rise and Fozzie are some of the best ship design gurus there are, because they've got so much experience with solo PvP in Rise's case, or elite PvP of the PL variety in Fozzie's case. These guys are subject matter experts. They know that stuff. There's no Sov warriors in CCP, and in fact, with the exception of looking at some of my old columns, nobody really spills the beans on how this shit works. It's not like none of the blocks want to say, here is how a Sov war works, here's what you have to do, here's how you organize it, because spreading that kind of information around it levels the playing field. Like there's a competitive advantage based upon institutional knowledge. So that does worry me. That is a concern because they're working to design a SOV system, and there's no SOV warriors on the CSM either, with the exception of Scion. Like Scion obviously knows SOV because he's the chief of staff of Goonswarm. If I was in CCP, I would be blowing up Scion's phone and saying, what do we do?
Help
how
us
does
fix,
this work?
please.
Right. I mean, if not even saying what do we do, but just like, how does this work? Because if somebody who doesn't understand how software works or how an alliance operates or how you move 40,000 human beings in one direction in a game that has its ups and downs and makes them do a bunch of miserable stuff, if they don't have that knowledge, it's
Well, about a year ago, actually, right before last FanFest, I was in the process of applying for the game design position at CCP, and they were supposed to send me some paperwork stuff to fill out for it, and then I never heard anything after that last time I spoke to them. So
that's actually kind of a funny point because in chat somebody is accusing me of wanting a job at CCP. I've spent far too much time in Iceland over the years, and no.
Yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy you didn't go past that because then I'd kind of be stuck in Iceland and don't want to be stuck in Iceland.
I know quite a few people that have applied for positions or thought about applying for positions for CCP, and the big stopping block is always Iceland. No thanks.
That's definitely a brain drain thing. I mean, they lose a lot of foreign talent who will go over there for a few years, and then just the winters are killers. Like it's like going to Alaska. It's actually quite similar to going to Alaska. It's warmer than Alaska. One of the CSM summits that I went to, kind of like the one that just happened recently, was in like December, right? And you go there, and the sun comes above the skyline for just like a couple of hours, and then it goes back in. It's like eternal darkness.
That's depressing.
It is. It is extremely depressing. You have to chug fish oil. They actually have this thing called they call it Lys, Lys or something like that. It's like a shark liver oil or cod oil or something to get more vitamin D in your system. But it really reminds me of Fairbanks, Alaska in the winter. So, I mean, that's tough. I just also the games industry, this is, not something we were supposed to talk about, but it's definitely a subtle segue, is that, the games industry is so erratic in terms of, you move a place, you settle in for your job or whatever, and then the industry shifts and the company you're with implodes or gets bought out or something like that. We saw that happen recently with Sony Online Entertainment became Daybreak Games. That sort of churn, even within CCP, there's been a lot of churn, is one of the biggest impediments to being a gamer and making, wanting to go into the games industry. Because you can like games as much as you want. But the moment you say, I'm a dev, and you sign on the dotted line and you move house to go to some other country or some other state, other city to take that job, you don't really have much control over your future. So, games dev, you have to be very brave and courageous, I think, to be a developer, and that's even before you get into the wacky death threat crap that you have to deal with.
That happens.
You're just in constant fear of losing your job because of how the turnover rate of developers and stuff in the gaming industry.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that with games, even for games that are successful, one of the things that a lot of people who are naive about the industry don't realize is, and you'll watch this from the patterns that do it, pay attention to games journalism or just the industry, they will do a big hiring burn, bring in a whole bunch of people to produce a game. And then the day after the game is published, maybe they'll wait a week. And it doesn't matter who this is almost throughout the entire industry. After they publish the game, then they whack a huge pile of their staff because then they're going into maintenance mode and the game has been published. So congratulations, high fives. You shipped your game. Get out.
Thanks for your help. Bye.
Thanks for your help. Thanks.
Yeah,
see you later. Yeah, that's
such a shame. So yeah, no, I wouldn't go for a CCP.
Well, someone in the chat saying cost of living is low in Iceland. Actually, Iceland is the fourth highest, fourth most expensive country to live in the world.
Yeah, I've looked at some things. It's pretty expensive. I was shocked.
Somebody is asking whether my microphone is up on my headset. This one is inactive. My microphone is actually down here, and I can be speaking into it. But if I move it right in front of me, then we have hey, here's my mic and my pop filter, and blah, blah, blah. I'm not sure whether you guys can hear me appropriately or not. Maybe we'll just go like this, like, hey. But I don't think so.
So the other big thing, to get back kind of on track, the other big thing that's happening at FanFest that we know of is this tournament.
Oh, yes. They're doing like a live tournament type thing.
Yes.
Laz, do you want to talk about that? Is that
basically, they're taking the 5 members of the winning team from the Alliance tournament last year from the Tranquility server, which is our the U.S. European server, basically Russian, etc. Sorry if you guys get offended if I left out your nationality. But they're taking the winning team from the Alliance tournament on Tranquility, 5 members, I believe, and then they're taking they had a player ran tournament, I believe, on Serenity, the Chinese server, and they're taking members of that winning team, and they're going to, I believe, bring them to FanFest and have them duke it out in a brawl. And they say they're going to make it full productions of commentators and analytics and all that. So it's going to be pretty interesting. So it's like a little mini Alliance tournament match, except for between the servers. So
that's going to be like a China versus everybody else,
right?
Like match.
Well, of course,
precisely. Huh. And I sent an email to them wondering who the commentator is going to be, because I was going to try and commentate it if they were bringing on players or if they're just going to use like Fozzie and Rise,
right?
Because Fozzie and Rise do have multiple years of Alliance tournament commentating that they've done.
Well, you can commentate on it as much as you want, because we're going to be sending you there with one of our media badges from TMC and letting you run
fancy.
around. Yes, Laz is hitting the big time now. He gets to wear the fancy media pass, because I'm going to be. I'm actually just horrifically lazy, and I used to do the whole media thing, and now
pretty much
I'm just delegating.
Wow! You get to go to FanFest.
You
get to go to FanFest.
Yeah, basically, like, here you go. Like, you get to do the media thing. It's a lot of work, and you get to deal with games journalists all day. So have fun with that.
Yeah, he's going to see me do all the work, but he's not paying for it.
That's the best way to do it. Authority without responsibility.
Oh no, I meant monetarily.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Wow, that's rude.
Hey, well, actually, if I suddenly find myself abruptly enriched, we'll reimburse you, absolutely. But the Icelandic flights, I don't really know if any of our watchers encountered this. We might have talked about this a couple weeks ago, but apparently, there's this eclipse or something that they scheduled FanFest to see, and so as a result, there's all these people like commuting through Reykjavik to go to the Faroe Islands to see the eclipse live, and the airfare prices are basically double what they were last year.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's nuts. It's like
I typically fly back on the Monday after FanFest, and I'm flying back Tuesday because it's $700 cheaper to fly back Tuesday than to fly back Monday.
Oh my god!
Yeah, the spike is insane. So, like, normally speaking, if you buy a FanFest ticket going out of JFK or Boston to get over there, it'll run you like $585 coming from Freedom Land to go over to Iceland, and that's what it's pretty much consistently been for years. Due to this eclipse thing, if you didn't get your ticket early enough, it can charge you around $1,100 to $1,300 for a round trip. So it's like crazy times this go round.
Jim J says flights out of Canada are cheap. Fly out of Winnipeg. Don't fly out of Winnipeg. Winnipeg is a terrible place. It's been negative 40 Celsius there for literally 4 months straight.
Yeah, they don't go.
Don't go to Winnipeg.
I don't think they do out of Winnipeg. I think you can there's only certain jumping off points that will get you.
No,
over
I know.
Iceland. Okay.
That's just what he said. He said fly out of Winnipeg. Don't go to Winnipeg. It's a terrible place.
17 million Aeroplan points. If I had 17 million frequent flyer miles of any flavor,
I'd be everywhere.
I would just be first class. There you go.
Well, that's the thing I'm dealing with. I've got a $1,500 voucher for United. I'm like, where am I going this summer? Where am I headed?
That's interesting.
So, yeah, that's happening.
Yeah, so apparently it's even bad from the UK. One of our guys is saying in chat. That is interesting and horrifying. All right, so besides complaining about getting to Iceland and sort of the FanFest dead zone and the FanFest commentary, it's going to be interesting. I think we're going to see more discussion of what's happening coming up with like the FanFest hype machine. I'm not sure on this, but I don't think that they've announced who's playing at FanFest in terms of music and parties this year. Have they? Did I miss that memo?
I don't think so, because I know it's been Z-Trip the past 2 years as the headliner.
Z-Trip owns. So I would be delighted. Z-Trip is the best. they had too many DJs many years ago. That was also great. They've had some Icelandic bands that were not so interesting historically. But
I think last year was actually pretty decent all around for their choices in music.
we had, but we should be seeing this stuff. I mean, FanFest, and this is shocking to me because time has been flying. It's been a very busy winter for me. But FanFest is next month, right? We're gonna be in Iceland. I'll be in Iceland starting on March 15th, right? So, yeah, that's scary.
Yeah,
because
it's especially with February being a short month, because usually you'd be like, oh, it's just a month away, and then you're like, oh wait, I mean February, and then
even shorter.
It's like what,
February's over in like a week.
weeks or 4.5 weeks or so until FanFest.
Yeah, no, that's pretty weird. Yeah, no, I'm actually getting confirmation they have not announced any musical guests. And however, they are doing a big change at the party at the top of the world. It's not going to be open. Yeah, we spoke about this on the Meta Show a couple weeks ago. And this is a good thing. Is that this go round the FanFest party is spaceship nerds only. They're not letting Selfoss and the Icelandic trailer park crew show up. I would watch that. I would love to see that actually as a reality TV show, just a mirror of Trailer Park Boys, but for Iceland in Selfoss. Can you imagine like an Icelandic version of Bubbles wandering around instead of collecting cats? Because cats wandering around outside in Iceland, not so much, but like having a lot of those little ponies that they have, that would be good.
Certainly, I'm going to try to. It depends on how good the internet stuff is there. I'll try to stream actually from Harpa whenever I'm there. It depends on how good like the Wi-Fi and stuff is, and if it's able to support an actual stream.
Somebody has suggested that they should get VNV Nation. If they got VNV Nation, I would laugh my ass off because as a grizzled old veteran of the goth industrial scene in the early 2000s and late 90s, I have probably seen Ronan Harris and his slightly overweight gut do his little dance. I can't even count how many times. It would be hilarious, though, and that would be good. A V&V show or a Covenant show. Probably a little bit too gothy for your average spaceship attendee, though. I don't know. That's interesting. We should ask our readers who they, and our not our readers, our watchers, our viewers, who they'd like to see. Somebody didn't realize that. Are you shitting me? Like, I love you now. No, I used to actually have, before I had this terrible facial hair, since everybody likes to talk about the red shirts and the facial hair, back when I was a little goth kid, I actually had hair, like, down to it was basically, like, a little bit lower than chin length. Long, flowing locks.
I don't even like my hair that long. Like, this is too long for me.
It was one of those sort of compromise positions where like the hair was a huge pain in the ass, but it was extremely popular with its target audience.
That's true.
So
that's a good point.
What was that? All the bears you were talking to at the time?
Oh, obviously,
hold on to?
obviously, naturally.
Jesus.
But yeah, so I really like to party, and that's one of the reasons why eVegas is often like more fun for me than FanFest.
Vegas was amazing. I can't wait for it to happen again. Oh my god.
Now, I mean, this is kind of a thing that I can't promise yet, so I don't really want to go into too much detail. But we go to Vegas so many times. We actually have quite a lot of potential hookups in Vegas, and every year that we go there, I mean, we had like 4 separate party suites just for Goonswarm and the CFC and everybody else in sort of our space tribe. And we had, Laz and I took Elise Randolph from PL to a fairly nice club. We had some space conversations there. It was good times.
I got to meet Elise. I fangirled.
That was interesting. We did lose Elise, unfortunately. He enjoyed himself so much he staggered away from our table service area. Apparently, fell in with somebody else's bachelor party and woke up the next morning covered in glitter in a room he didn't recognize on some bed. In this like bachelor party, it's like looking around in chaos. I won't get into too many details. I don't want to incriminate my friend.
That's hysterical.
But the point is that we have some.
I think between Vegas, like 4 of us, we killed 2.5 bottles of vodka between 4 people.
It was a thing. I'm glad there was no wizard hats involved. But
yeah, that's a lot.
But we have a lot of Vegas connections increasingly because our tribe keeps going back there, and hopefully I'll have something entertaining to announce. I'm kind of looking to have like a Goon meet or a CFC meet separated from eVegas out there just because I like to party in Vegas. So that should be fun. We'll see. We'll see whether that happens or not, and hopefully I'll have some positive news to announce and make it rain on the community. But we'll see. Beyond that, yeah, Fanfest. I like the music business. I hope that they actually have somebody that we can dance to and go clubbing and all that. Reykjavik isn't really a club town. It's more of a stagger-around bar kind of thing. Yeah. Somebody is saying on chat that they have hookups at the Cosmo. I haven't actually done that. One of the most terrifying things that we have with broadcasts is that we have the ability to send a broadcast to 40,000 people.
Right.
And we haven't really collected our Vegas contacts before. Like, we haven't tried to say, besides the guys that we know of already, like, who else can hook us up? It's kind of a terrifying.
I sent a broadcast Thursday, I think, looking for a Comcast employee.
Right.
And I think I got one Comcast employee, but he was on the train home, so he couldn't really help me.
Right.
So, well.
But I mean, we can probably find someone anywhere in the
Probably.
CFC.
It is one of those things. Like, if I ever decided that I wanted to try to take over the world, I would just send a broadcast about it.
Yeah.
And,
Who has the keys to the
People
nuke?
would be Xing up to help you.
It's time, guys. We're gonna move on. We're gonna get outside of Eve. It's time for us to go global and take over the world.
I'm thinking in the brain shit right here.
That is definitely some picking in the brain shit right here. I think that would be very exciting. I think people would get pumped by it. But first I have to figure out how to take over the world.
Can I ask you for a favor?
What's that?
Can we take over Vegas first?
Sure. Actually, because
Okay.
that sounds like more fun than trying to take over the world. Because if we take over Vegas, that's a thing. I mean, our guys are constantly at the craps tables anyway. Like, you barely see, unless you're actually like rolling dice at Vegas with Eve Vegas, you miss 90% of the space nerds because everybody.
It was the most fun thing I've ever done. I want to go back and roll dice. I'm addicted to gambling. Somebody help me! Oh my god!
Craps is the most fun game in Vegas. The problem is if you don't have a hot roller, you're just going to lose money hand over fist.
Rolling dice, shouting Eve things with the guys, I don't know what you call them, the people that were not part of Eve that were not there because it was the Sunday night and everyone had gone home. And the people at the table were like, is this chick losing it? And I was like, yes, I am. I'm having way too much fun.
You were shouting Eve things
yes,
while rolling dice?
While rolling dice.
What
Me and Barian.
Oh my god.
It was amazing.
What were you shouting? I want to.
I don't even remember. I don't even remember. I was
I'm
drunk.
claiming Sov on this or something or other.
Something stupid like that.
Shameful.
I don't even
Okay,
fucking know.
I see.
I was drunk. It's fine.
Wow. Okay. That's how it works. That's Vegas for you.
Yeah.
I've talked myself into this. Now instead of thinking about spaceships in Reykjavik, I'm thinking,
I did call someone a scrub when they rolled poorly.
Well, I mean, Eve Vegas is completely different than FanFest because Eve Vegas is more about hanging out with the guys you know from previous Eve stuff, and then FanFest is more about Eve.
Yeah, that's true.
Sure.
I mean, I'm hoping that the Jovian stuff is going to make this go around a little bit more entertaining than, hey guys, here's our industry revamp.
Oh, that was so horrible.
I
was so upset whenever
I think I literally nodded off during the presentation.
Headliner and I went to the tournament room because they're streaming it in there, and we just literally started hammering beers.
Oh my god!
we were sitting next to each other, sending out tweets about the industry stuff, like while the keynote was going on, and while hammering beers, getting hammered inside the Eve tournament room.
Wow!
Oh my god!
Well, whatever works. I mean, you gotta. It's like defensive drinking when they start talking about industry. I mean,
Exactly. And the main keynote room is super hot and sweaty, and you can't bring drinks in there either unless you smuggle them in.
That's right. That is actually one of the things that I find most disturbing about the big conference area in Harpa. Like, when they're doing a keynote, you've got nothing to drink.
That's unfortunate.
So you're there for like an hour while they talk, and the room's packed with nerds, and it's hot. And
it's like literally the one place in Iceland where they aren't drinking all the time, right? Because Iceland is a lot like Wisconsin, right? It's too cold to be sober.
Yep.
Straight up. So,
it's not like Canada.
Yeah. There you go. All right, so we should actually try to get vaguely back on topic.
Well, I mean, we were talking about FanFest. That's all on topic. It's fine. We're talking about Eve meetups.
The only thing that's going on in our minds right now is the idea of us going to Vegas and partying and gambling. So,
pretty much.
I don't even have money to gamble, and I want to
I'm
go.
thoroughly distracted, so I'm trying to.
Well, where are we on this list that we made?
We're actually near the end of it. The last thing that we wanted to talk about was the stuff that's been happening with Brave recently, and we have an article on the website right now about Brave losing a lot of ISK and one of their directors defecting. I'm not sure where he defected to, but he took money and burned bridges and left. I'm assuming it's CFC.
I heard actually that he, whoever this guy is, I haven't paid too much attention to this because I guess what I'm supposed to be doing is.
I didn't realize Brave had 40 billion to be stolen. To be honest,
I didn't either. I'm a little surprised at the amount of money he's able to get.
I'm going to go ahead and officially activate the spin zone here because we're.
Here we go.
Yep, this shit is real.
Get ready, everyone! Pull out your popcorn.
Yeah. So, apparently this guy was like some sort of industry or newbies director. I don't really know the details on it, and he was like skimming and embezzling, and I guess he got caught.
Oh, rip.
That spin zone logo is amazing. I haven't seen that.
Oh, I didn't see it. Oh, I missed it. That's okay.
We'll do it
I'll
again.
rewatch it. I'll rewatch the video.
We'll have a double spin zone here. This was actually made for us by Prague, who's an amazing guy. He's done a lot of our intro videos. He did the original intro video, and now he's given us a proper spin zone. We're thinking about adding other hosts from different alliances on the Meta Show, such that other power blocks get a voice. Like I think it would be cool to have
and their own spin zones.
Yeah, exactly. So like instead of me, one week we would have Elise Randolph, and he would have like a PL Phage on the TCU for like the host specific spin zone.
I don't think I'd be allowed to be a part of the Skype call if that were a thing. I don't think I could be on the show that week because I would just fangirl over Elise Randolph. So
do you have a crush on Elise? Is that what I'm hearing? Just a little bit. All right, you heard it here first. Romance and lust
so many
in the air of EVE Online.
Every time there's an Elise Randolph feed, I'm like, yes, please.
Elise is on my stream all the time.
Oh my god, I know.
Oh my god, I know.
She's sitting outside the house.
Wow, I can see you squirming. I can't even see the bottom. Yeah, you're just.
She snorted.
Elise Randolph. Ooh, baby.
I'm just being an idiot. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. No, you can't control yourself. I mean, he is a very attractive man. I mean, not gonna lie.
I was talking more about his fleets, but yes.
Oh, I see. Sure.
Huge fan of his fleets. Okay. It's not a euphemism, okay? Anyways. We're talking about things. What we're talking about. We're Brave.
Right. So some guy was embezzling. He took a bunch of money from Brave. None of us realized that Brave actually had 40 billion ISK to steal in the first place. And then he defected, I guess, to... he might have joined Karma Fleet or something. I don't know. I have no idea who this guy is, but if he's an embezzler who jumped over to our side of the aisle, we're obviously never going to give him any roles or any ability to do anything. Yeah.
It's kind of to give yourself to work yourself.
So he joined CFC. We already gave him access to the wallets. Completely trust him.
Yeah, it seems entirely reasonable to me. Who wouldn't, right? Exactly. Long history of embezzling. Obviously, finance team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right.
Obviously, put him there. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
I think. Yeah, I mean, I don't really have too much to say about that. Like, Brave has been, they're in catch. Like, PL has stopped trying to kill them, which is good.
Yep.
Well, I don't know if you actually, read through the article, because there's an interview, of someone talking with him and, what the motives were and what was the thought, why he did what he did. And
well, you're our designated,
I haven't actually read the article, so it's all you.
Oh my god. That's terrible. I don't know, but reading the article makes me think back to the other two guys who left Brave very publicly, and wrote their big spiel on Reddit about how Brave had changed and their culture was changing in a way that they didn't agree with or whatever. I mean, it's not quite the same, but it's very, very similar, to their sentiments, I feel. The reason that he did what he did. The guys who came over and created Karma Fleet, or the one guy.
So Marconius left to make Karma Fleet, and there was some other dude who made some sort of spin-off corp 30 seconds before Marconius posted his spiel. This other dude, whose name I'm forgetting entirely, made his Lemmings Corp, something or other like that. I don't know. Maybe somebody in chat can actually let us know what the deal is with that. But I don't know. I mean, Brave seems like they're doing fine. I don't want to like crap on.
No,
them
for sure.
Like,
I think that everything is fine, but it reminds me, like, what he's saying pretty much about the reasons why he did what he did just remind me a lot of their posts.
well, there's two theories there, right? On the one hand, either this is a consistent issue from their top level of their directorate, or on the other hand, it's not a consistent issue at all, but the guy was embezzling, and to try to make it look like he wasn't just stealing crap from them, he said, oh yeah, what those guys said. Yeah, that was totally my problem too, and I did this out of principle, and that's why...
He mentions ineffective and AFK leadership, which I believe is something that Marconius and the other guy, I don't remember his name, some terrible name, that was one of the things they touched on.
Their leader was posting on Twitter, Lichton actually has, I think he's got a tattoo of Brave now, like here on his chest. I'm not making this up. Like, I think I'm actually going to go dig this up here on live TV right now. I think he got
the tattoo.
Yeah, I think he got a tattoo of his alliance.
At Testival that year that I went, that was not last year, the year before.
That's right.
I very nearly got a test tattoo.
I know someone who did get one. I mean,
so do I.
Yeah,
Beffa got a tattoo.
get one.
Actually, I don't know if she got. Oh, she got the Rifter. I think
She got the Rifter sickle. Tattoo.
Yes,
She
I don't
didn't
think she
actually
got.
get, like the,
Right. Okay.
I think people are trying to post things. Okay, so do we actually have an image of the? No, I'm looking around, but I'm not quite finding it. Oh well, whatever. The point is, if you look around on Twitter, you'll be able to find these pictures of Lichton with like a Brave tattoo right here. I'm not sure whether it's temporary or real. I don't have a Goonstorm Fat Beat tattoo, so I'm not sure whether that.
I
means that
imagine
need
not.
No, I'm not really big into tattoos. I'm not really big into pain in general. Like, that's not really how I roll.
That's good to know.
Yeah, no, I'm a total like no pain, no tattoos kind of guy. And if that makes me weak, then
How does your Dom cope with that?
You know, I was just about to ask, Laz. Get out of my brain.
You know, that is interesting because it is Valentine's Day, and that movie is.
Oh my God!
coming out.
No! We don't talk about that. It's terrible. It's bad. No.
Well,
No.
that's
you
my
already saw it.
attitude. That is totally my attitude about it as well. But you know, I'm not.
Just no.
This is not the topic that's appropriate for the Meta Show. Hopefully, we all know and are horrified by the very idea of.
So bad.
Yeah.
I've only read excerpts. That's so bad.
It is basically like a torture technique. And
I was like, why isn't she calling the cops? This is cops 911 right now. Go 911. Go girl, go 911.
he's a creepy stalker, and he's abusive, but that's love.
But it's
and-
BDSM,
yeah,
so
but
it's fine.
Yeah, because that's
But it's not
totally
B-
that's
It's not BDSM.
Shh, we don't talk about that on the Meta Show. I don't know what the Twitch regulations are if we get a little bit too. That's actually one of the things that is terrifying about it, though. Rather than getting away from the topic, just one last thing is that because of that fucking movie, like everybody's going to be talking about this shit all the time in like mainstream areas, which I'm not looking forward to at all.
Oh.
But whatever. Anyway, let's give away some spaceships.
Are we gonna give away some spaceships? We're gonna just completely abandon the Brave topic.
Brave thing. We're squicked out now, so like we have to back away slowly from the whole 50 Shades
Of bad,
conversation.
yes.
50
Okay.
Shades of Spin. Actually, Noisy Gamer, you got to shout that. That's excellent. The Meta
Very
Show.
nice.
50 Shades of, and that's a perfect excuse for us to. I guess I should put like a tie or something wrapped
Oh,
around
God,
the TCU
no.
because people totally use ties for that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it's done. It's like 101.
I would rather see
Anyway,
50 Shades of Laz.
yeah. So guys, why don't you, while we go ahead and get ready to answer give away some confessors, why don't we have some user questions? If you have questions for us, while we
Yes.
set up the giveaways, go ahead and ask them in chat. Please try to keep the questions unrelated to 50 Shades of Grey, 50 Shades of Laz.
None of us have answers to any of
You know,
those
somebody
questions.
was asking, like, what was Mittens a goth who's not into BDSM? All of these things are things that we're not talking about. 50 Shades of Whelp.
Yep,
I have
it's
no idea.
bad.
If you would like to know more, you can always PM the Mittani in game. Send me email, and he will answer them after the show.
Oh God, incoming! Look what you've done.
No.
Okay, so what's our keyword gonna be, and what are we gonna give away?
Well, we're
apparently
gonna give away
we-
Confessor, I think.
I was gonna say everyone wants a confessor, so I think we should give away a confessor.
Omni is asking how the XS Dash fight went, which I'm guessing we did. Oh, I guess we skipped that, the Imencia part.
Oh, the Russians killing the nullsec guys, basically.
Yeah.
They lost. How many super carriers did they lose? I think they lost like 3. Was it?
Oh no, that was Stain. The Imencia thing, or the Deterid. That was Deterid is one you're thinking of. Is whenever the Russians dropped Titans and Supers on top of Nully and US Prime's time. Yeah. But that was the fight where we went into it like with the Imencia deployment, and we had like 70 dudes, and we had no clue the Russians were actually forming for it. So we jumped into system, and the Russians were asking local who our FC was, and we're like, "Yeah, what's up?" And like, "Yeah, we got a fleet. We're gonna brawl." And then so when they warped in, they ended up warping in their Dominic's fleet, and I had 0 on top of these rattlesnakes and everything, and then they jumped in Dreads, and then Gentleman's Club counter jumped Dreads in, and then they brought in Supers, and then the Russians actually countered the Supers with Supers and Titans. It was rather crazy string of events.
Like, it's all over the way. Yeah, got it.
It's one of those things that like spawns off the cuff that you see once in EVE like every 3 years. And it's kind of like it's like the old school Russian tactics where they just kind of like throw everything in, align it out, and then dump their load and get out. It was cool to see. It was refreshing to see, rather, with the current state of nullsec and SOV.
Somebody was asking a question about the situation with Black Legion going back to Venal. They moved back to In5Y just the other day, and nothing really has happened. Like I think that last night they sieged a couple towers in the CFCs, so there's really not too much going on there. Like we're gonna kill them again. This time around they went to In5Y instead of K3J, such that we can't just drop on them from QPO directly, so they learned their lesson last time. We'll see how long they stick around. This could just be like evil spin, because obviously they're gonna beat us and win. Because that's worked out so well for them the last however many zillions of times they've come at us in Venal. Alrighty.
So I think the keyword, because a few people were saying this should be the keyword, so it's going to be safe word. Safe word is going to be the keyword. It's all lowercase, no capitals, one word.
There's an obvious follow-up joke to that being to be made, which is normally that's red, so we kind of have a theme already.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. But yeah, so I guess rolling off the dirt thing, the Imencia deployment has been wrapped up. Monday we had our kind of like final last stand at the Alamo with the Imencia deployment. Our staging system was coming out of final reinforce time, and Initiative decided that they were getting bored of fighting the Imencia, so they're going to quit hitting stuff and attacking timers. So we made the decision to fight that last time in XS Dash and then walk out. So we had 140 man-ish to our fleet, and we had 40 bombers from the Big Red Boat, and we were fighting against about 500 or so hostiles. We won the timer, killed some stuff, lost some ships, and then we just left the system. So they had to they had to re-anchor SPUs and wait the 3 hours to finally take the system. Even though they actually all went home after they put new SPUs up, and halfway home we found a wormhole that went straight back into XS Dash. So we could have taken that wormhole and then killed their SPUs again and then make them put new ones up.
You should have. So, that would have been pretty funny.
We thought about it. We had some euros with us though, so we ended up going home. Anyways,
that's excellent.
That's pretty funny.
So we then Pro God Legend posted on Twitter that was so fucking embarrassing after the fight, after we beat them with just a single 140 man fleet and some bombers versus their 500 dudes.
Well, did GBRB come in with like another sweeping amazing bomb fleet and just no?
He got them super low, and he would have had one more squad of bombers. He would have killed 2 entire Loki fleets.
Oh my god!
With his bomb runs, but that was not the case. But.
All right, so let's go ahead and do our first giveaway with all of these safe words.
We've only got 116 people entered.
Okay, guys, type safe word into chat, all one word, if you are interested in winning one of these confessors.
Usually we get at least 130. So.
Maybe people are not interested in confessors. You do need to be following the channel. Subscribers get a bonus.
The bonus is going up as more subscribers.
It's actually a pretty ridiculous thing. One of our subscribers was actually asking in the chat earlier, when are we going to start adding custom emotes? Because we have the ability to, because we have a partnership with Twitch. I believe we have at least the initial, like Spy Guy logo. but we should add custom emotes. And in fact, I'm going to write down my pen that I dropped and write this down as to.
Well, a lot of times,
to
people who watch the streams and stuff will kind of pick their own like emotes that they would like added.
Well, we should, if you're interested as a subscriber and you have the idea of this or that custom emote that you'd like, kind of like with the Confessor giveaway, go ahead and send us a message to our Twitch channel, the channel itself. You can send us a message and just say, hey, what's up? I'm a subscriber. This is my idea for a TMC emote that we'd like to see. Maybe some sort of silly spin zone thing.
I was going to say, we definitely need a spin zone one.
Yeah. It's true. It's better to have people pick their own emotes and volunteer these things than just sort of saying, here's what we think is funny, as opposed to what you guys think is actually funny.
Okay, I'm going to roll this.
Let's do it.
So we're going to roll.
Oh, also...
Mythic Myth. Who actually just resubscribed for the 4th month in a row today. You have won a Confessor. Congratulations, and thank you for continuing your sub here with us.
Yeah, that's
very nice.
There's actually another resub today, which was Circly. So thank him as well for the resub and helping support the stream.
That's his 3rd month subbing.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So
it's
thank
very
you
nice
so
to see
much, guys.
that people are still tuning in even after I got trapped in Chicago last week. That was really obnoxious. So thank you. Alrighty, so let's take a look at another not another. I almost said let's take a look at another
I know
that.
Oh my
god. People are also asking in stream, what is going on with Delve? So, Mittens, you probably know more better than I do. I haven't actually been paying attention.
The Delve thing, the Southwest CFC has been poking across the border into Delve, but it's been this really sort of like, it's not a real campaign. It's basically NC.dot and some of the other people there had left Quarius undefended. I think they've actually come back now, but I'm not sure. But there's this kind of like low tier, like across the border scuffle where super capital assembly arrays are getting sieged. I think mostly on the NC.dot and Kadeshi side. There are reavers which may or may not exist, may or may not be involved. So it's basically like one of those harassing deployments. When somebody leaves their home undefended, we may or may not be sending the reavers, and the CFC gets bored. And if you leave a place completely undefended, then we go in there and get content by blowing everything up and forcing you to come rep it or lose Titans and things like that. So there's no actual like attempt to take Delve or Quarius, but when people leave their assets undefended, we are going to punish them for it every single time, basically.
Right.
All right, so let's pick another word, not a safe word. Let's actually, I don't think that he's gotten enough press lately, and so I'm going to abuse my position of running the show and say that the word, not the safe word, the key word for this one will be Indy, who is our second CSM candidate for the CFC, or at least from Goonswarm. We haven't assembled the CFC ballot yet.
So no caps,
just all one word.
E-N-D-I-E.
E-N-D-I-E.
No caps.
Go ahead and no caps. Just go ahead and type that in there. Yeah, first two guys got it already. Make sure that you're following the stream, and subscribers get a completely ridiculous bonus on these rolls. It's something nuts, like 5 or 10 times as likely to win if you subscribed. It's one of the ways that we can sort of make it rain for our guys.
Yeah. Well, we're also going to be getting serious about Sub Sunday as well.
Absolutely.
There's actually a schedule posted to the streamers of TMC, and we're going to kind of let streamers pick their time blocks, and once they have a time block, they'll be going through that time block and streaming on that Sunday. So that way, instead of having like me stream for 13 hours or something on Sunday, you'll have a bunch of different streamers go through for Sub Sunday. And like I said, you'll get to pick the games and be able to play with the streamer and stuff like that as a subscriber. And we're just trying to find more and more things we can do for the subs of the channel,
Absolutely.
and including like sub-only giveways, etc.
It should be interesting, actually, for... you're doing roams on every Wednesday, right? Because, I actually went along with you and Sardcard the other day, this Wednesday, on a roam, which was funny. I logged into EVE Online. I was flying a Tristan. I got blown up repeatedly. But we actually killed
People
some stuff.
saw you in space and were just like,
Me
primary.
in space. No, well, no, I wasn't.
He was the only person that survived, like, every fight.
Oh, that's ironic.
I was actually, I had a less of a death ratio than anybody else. It was good times. Yeah. I'm sneaky like that, so... You're like,
so
look, that's
good.
Lazarus Tellraven, and what the hell alt is that? Whatever, we're gonna go shoot Laz. So worked.
So it was actually kind of it was kind of a good split. It was me, Sarcade, the Mittani, and John Lehner from N3. So it was
sort of like a minor Eve celebrity roam of just like nerds, and we go into low-sec and faction warfare where none of us have any idea what we're doing except for Sard, and he sort of guided us on that. That was good stuff. What do we have as far as sign-ups for this giveaway? Are we reaching?
We're encroaching. We're encroaching on 150. We had 170 last time. So, guys, the keyword is ND again. Make sure you type it in. It's a confessor we're giving away again, right? 2 confessors.
Yep, it's another confessor. And one of the reasons we're giving away confessors this time, guys, is because on that roam, on the Wednesday Laz roam, we encountered so many 10 MN afterburning confessors. It was ridiculous. Like, it was just confessor. And they're these ludicrously overpowered solo boots. One of my directors was getting into an argument when I mentioned that I thought that confessors were overpowered. And he said, well, they're overpowered at an individual level, but they actually have no role beyond being a solo PvP boat. Like, there's no place for them in a doctrine or in a fleet. So.
Well, no. I mean, if you are, say, running an armor assault frigate fleet, then you would use the confessor as a tanking ship.
Oh, really?
As an FC ship, because it's an inherent ability to fit probes. Because right now, if you're flying in a Harpy fleet, you typically FC from an FC Harpy, which is going to have nothing in the highs except for a probe launcher,
Massive
and you're
sacrifices
basically
to be able to fit that.
right. And you're shoehorning in CPU mods and faction mods to be able to fit the probe launcher. So the confessor and also the Seafoal, because it's also the Seafoal is getting a resistance bonus to its shields and armor to support kind of like dual tanking or.
I see.
And so for Harpy fleets from now on, since the Seafoal has a probe bonus as well, or be able to fit probe launchers, then you'll use that to FC from instead of an actual Harpy.
I'm really excited to see what the Caldari one looks like. I mean, I guess we're going to see the other reveals of the stuff at Fanfest. Cause
I hope so.
Next patch is basically Fanfest, so maybe they'll just show us what the Galente and the Caldari ones are.
Well, the Caldari one's going to be broken.
You think so?
Oh, yeah. If they do railguns or missiles, because railguns and missiles are in such a good place right now, they're just going to be
that's a good point.
Well, I mean, it's not like the Corax is any good. That's Caldari.
Yeah.
So, just because it's Caldari doesn't mean that it's necessarily OP. But having something that you can actually... I do like the fact that it's a ship that you can do solo PvPing on without requiring a second account to do your probing for you. Like, it's kind of cool to actually have it all in one package that's not a horrifically expensive T3. All right, let's give this sucker away.
Yes, let's give it away.
Have now written their indies out.
So it's not a subscriber. Yay, followers. Miza Evil. I'm going to type it out. Just so
it sounds like one of those things that's difficult to pronounce.
Yeah, it's Miza Evil. I'm just pronouncing it as 2 separate words because it is.
Alrighty, well, guys, if you have won from us, make sure that you send a message to the Twitch channel and let us know who your in-game character is that you want us to contract this to. It'll usually take 2 or 3 days for us to do this.
Hopefully not a week.
But if you don't send us a message saying, this is my Eve guy, you don't get anything, because I have no idea who your Twitch name is or where it's supposed to go or whether it matters or not. So send us a message. We will contract you your prize in Jita. I want to thank you all very much for attending this week. I'm going to apologize again about things that were outside of my control, and thus the apology is meaningless, about getting trapped in Chicago last week.
I think we should probably do a Q&A session since we've been promising one for about 4 weeks now.
Well, people aren't actually answering questions. I mean, we've given them the chance to ask questions, and there haven't really been very many.
Yeah, we've pretty much covered most of the questions that have been asked, I think. We can probably do like a whole Q&A follow-up show or something if you want. I'm going to skim back here. The problem is when we do Q&As and then we get into the giveaways, a lot of people ask questions that then, it gets buried and all this stuff.
I didn't realize we had already asked people to send questions.
Oh, yeah, we have.
Yeah.
You were totally not paying attention. Like I was telling stories
absolutely
and
not.
everything.
There's one question there.
Here's somebody saying, Eve espionage question. In addition to human signals and geospatial intelligence, are financial and Masent used as well? So here we have this is obviously like an IC guy trying to show off. So, generally speaking, Eve is basically just human int and SIGINT. Like there's Java relays and networks and stuff like that. That's it. because that's all that the game really supports. Like, it's not like you can have a satellite beaming down to find some guy's house, right? So Intel and Eve is pretty much either code things where you're like relaying other people's Jabber networks. I mean, every major block has this now. And it's the kind of thing that we can just openly admit because it's ubiquitous now.
Right.
The exact methods that we use to set up Jabber relays, we don't need to go into, nor will we. But that's the thing. And then beyond that, it's mostly just human intelligence with handlers, sort of the old-fashioned way.
Laz, you need to click that link.
Which link?
The link in chat.
Is this
Oh my god.
Somebody is asking, is that the banana gif that people keep showing you? Oh god, yeah, that's
wow.
That's
holy shit!
Wow.
Wow.
I would like to put that on the stream, but I'd be afraid that we'd get the broadcast yanked. That's a picture of Laz deep throating a banana taken from one of his own actual streams.
I'm animated.
Wow. Yeah, that's actually, I think that's probably a possible future emote for this channel if we can.
It's gonna have to be.
Yeah. Urandus, if you could go ahead and message that to us in Twitch, we'll see if we can get that turned into a channel emote. Sucks to be you, Laz. So Indy was actually asking to see whether I would explain to the stream. Mittani, I have a question. Who is your best left-hand / inquisitorial representative? Plus, what is an inquisitorial representative outside of 40K? This is totally not a self-serving question at all. But Indy had, so in Goonswarm, I have, my right hand is Scion. He's chief diplomat, very public-facing, speaks for us in official channels. And my left hand is Indy, who has always been involved in basically espionage-related things, managing the GIA for many years. And Indy's judgment is basically so finely honed that instead of giving him a specific portfolio, it's kind of like, I'm a big 40K nerd. I haven't played in 4 or 5 years. Ever since I moved to Madison, I haven't had time to actually play tabletop. But, the Inquisition in 40K, there's no law that is above them. They have a badge. They can fight crime. They can shoot crime. They can do whatever. And so Indy's position within the Swarm is that he basically gets to run around, stick his nose into whatever he wants, counsels me on whatever he thinks needs improving, and we just had to kind of find a title to describe that, of somebody who can run around and shoot trouble, dispose of directors who misbehave, that kind of thing. So that is Indy asking a question about who the hell he is to us and what he does and why he is our CSM representative.
He's just following it up with basically. He says, "Can I boot Murchie?" Question mark.
If I say yes on live TV, then I'll go back to a directorate in turmoil and Murchie being gone. I wonder whether Murchie's PAP stats have actually managed to justify their continued existence, though.
And Marconi Sporkbutt has asked if I will do a newbie training class on my stream. Of course, I can do it. Just let me know when you'll be doing it, Marconi, and we can schedule it.
That actually sounds
can I go? Because noob.
Okay. Yes, you totally can go. It'll be fine. We'll maybe even bring Elise Randolph for you, so you can squeak.
Elise Randolph and I'll do a training stream.
Somebody says, what do all the Alliance's leadership in Javelin 5 think we'll get for soft changes? Is there an overall opinion about what we may get at FanFest? Nobody's really said much in J5 recently because of the lack of conflict in EVE, right? One of the when things are hot and heavy, people talk a lot in J5. But ever since Phoebe happened, because we can't really cross the galaxy to mess with each other as easily, and nobody really wants to start a Sov war because we don't know what the value of the space is going to be. Currently, right now, the value of the space, and this is one of the problems with the hypothetical Sov system revamp, is that people want to change the rules of the Sov system without first buffing it such that having the stuff in the first place even matters. Right. People who don't know anything about Sov, people who don't know anything about running an alliance, they think that territory is inherently valuable and that it's worth the cost of holding all this crap.
It's not.
And it's just not.
At all. Last time there was a big upheaval was back when I don't remember exactly what was buffed and changed, but some moons and some stuff were rebalanced, and it made like the Delve Fountain area really valuable, and that was
the Technetium bottleneck was changed.
Right, that was it. Thank you.
R64s were buffed. Yeah, and other things have made space valuable in the past. Like for a while there, and Grayscale ruined this. When they initially released Dominion, you could have space like that used to be worthless, like Providence, and using iHub upgrades, you could boost the value of the anomalies in those systems. Now, as soon as that space became valuable, you could upgrade the space. It was actually worth having. The moment that happened, Providence got rolled over because it was no longer like happy role player playland because, we'll let them have it because the space is trash anyway, who cares? As soon as it became valuable, blocks were like, gimme, right?
I need this, I need money, please.
Exactly. But then they removed the ability, the buffs from iHubs. You could still buff anomalies, I think, but it just doesn't really do as much. So, when autocrats are hanging out in Javelin 5, it's not like everybody's like, ooh, hey, new soft system, let's go take more space. Most of the blocks, as you've seen, that are run by intelligent people
trying to get rid of it,
massively reduced our footprint, right?
Yep.
And the CFC downsized. PL almost completely got rid of all their space. I think all of their space, full stop. So it's just a mess. So we'll see what happens. There's no crazy speculation in Javelin 5 about, like, we all think CCP is going to do this or that, because they can change the soft system all they want in the first place, but until they make... There needs to be an incentive from a realpolitik perspective for us to want to seize more space and territory to begin with. The rules for taking this thing that you don't want are now more complicated or different or easier or whatever. And
that's nice. I still don't want it.
Yeah, okay, great. So am I going to still have to pay a bill for this stuff that isn't actually meriting the income to own that in terms of the min material, everything you have to do to defend that?
But I think that goes into one of the other questions of, is renting still the main way for nullsec bodies to make their income?
That's not really the main way of doing that anymore. Renting empires have kind of like declined. This is actually funny. We have an obligatory chat troll here. Somebody's saying, "How dare CCP mess with Goon space? Better get 20,000 people to complain." I don't think these guys realize how rich we are. And how like we're good. Totally spin zone. But no, it's just kind of it's a mess. Like in all these situations, usually what matters about the success or failure of an alliance is the institutional knowledge of that alliance's directorate, right? How long have they played? How many tricks they know? All this stuff that they can do to add value to their organization relative to the value of the other organizations. We're sitting really pretty right now. Like, we're good. We don't need more space. We're just kind of hanging out up here in Declan, being like, yo, what's up?
Well, and like Porkpike just asked, is Sav worth anything anyways? Right now, no, it's not. I mean, the only value you get out of Sav is I guess the fuel bonus, and then your members have same place where they can run anomalies with their AFK carriers and AFK Ishtars.
Well, relatively safe.
Which is why you don't see any wars right now, is because Sav just plainly, it's not worth attacking. Like, you don't gain anything from holding Sav. Really.
The only reason why we have Sav compared to PL is that we have, because PL has a purely like nomadic elite PvP environment, right? They don't need to build any super caps. Even if you wanted to build super caps, it doesn't matter because there's people in the drone regions who sell them in the open market. So you don't actually need Sav to like have an SCSA because puppies will make them and you buy them off Evo or whatever. They really have an optimized alliance structure because they don't have people who are interested in industry. Like Goonswarm in the CFC is a little bit more inclusive as far as you can do whatever you want. As long as you show up on ops and actually help defend the whole thing, we let you do industry, blah blah blah. So for those guys, they usually want to have towers, they want to have SOP, they want to have space. Like it's a territorial instinct. But in terms of like the actual ISK value of owning space and paying for that, Goonswarm has a region and has had and that's not a new thing. Like we've only actually been paying SOP bills as Goonswarm in Declan, and then we had a chunk of Fountain until we gave that away. So
RJ Collins asks, so is the preference towards blocks to grow tall or grow wide in order to obtain their ISK?
Tall or wide, that's sort of a vague question because I'd have to know what he means by tall or wide first.
I understand. I think tall is like you have a smaller amount of space with more people, and then wide would be more space, less people. That would be my assumption of what he means, but I'm not sure.
Well, I mean, mostly the way that that income works, the most income in alliances comes not from like ratting income. The income comes from moons. So you hold single point sources of income. You either react it or just directly sell the products of it, and that's how you make your money. It's completely independent of SOV. I mean, PL has moons everywhere, and they don't need to pay a bill in SOV to have that. So it's not really one of the reasons why the SOV system as it currently exists is such a mess. Is that there's no real rational relation between your members' income and your alliance income, right? In an ideal world, I've always been a fan of the idea that an alliance leadership shouldn't be incentivized to embezzle, right? The job of an alliance leadership should be to make things better for your line pilots, right? But there's no alliance tax mechanic. Most of the money comes from moons, not ratting taxes or anything like that. So as long as the leadership holds moons and takes that money into their wallet and then distributes it down or doesn't, as the case may be, there's no real incentive other than principle to like help your guys out. And I think the SOV system should be from the ground up, where an alliance's income does better when their line members are more wealthy and more successful.
All right.
That's my soapbox. That's how I think it should be.
Just had another question from two people. It's the same question, I think, copy pasted. Can we get a null power hour with Laz, Mittens, Manny, Elise, and I guess other nullsec leaders?
Well, that would be cool. I'd be down
We
for
want to
that.
do something like that. We'd love to start doing the nullsec power hour again. I think it would be really interesting to do that. Sort of like a riff on not just this show, but the celebrity roam, like the accidental celebrity roam that we had the other day.
You guys should incorporate the two. You should make it a celebrity roam and then just bullshit about nullsec.
Yeah, that would be great, and we would like to have, we'd like to get more non-Goonswarm voices on this show. Like, we'd like to have, instead of me one time, get like Vince Draken to sit here and talk shit about Goonswarm all day. Like, that would be fun. Who cares? Like, I think it would just be really interesting to get more perspectives from across the wider community on the show. So yeah, that's a really good idea. All right, boys and girls, we have run over time. We've been doing this because we actually started on time for the first time pretty much in history.
Not the first time. Well, actually, it might be.
I think it is literally
It might have been the first
might
time.
actually be the
literally
first time.
the first time the Meta Show
Yeah,
has begun.
never mind.
I know. I messaged you guys 2 days ago and was like, "Hey, are you guys?
We're gonna get this done on time.
This time we're going to do it. We got this. We got this, guys. And my internet hasn't crapped out. We've been consistently streaming. Thank you once again to Vin and T from Charter Communications for unfucking everything for me. And yeah, so thanks for joining us very much. Show up again next week, same time. It will actually be on time next week. And we have Laz's Rome.
About TMC Live on Monday nights.
We also have TMC Live on Monday nights. Again, what time is that, Nystrik?
10 EST. I don't know what time that is. Goon time. It's 7 PST.
Okay, so
I Goon. I meant like.
You said 10 p.m. Eastern.
Yes.
10 p.m. Eastern is, let's see, 0300.
Okay.
Thank you.
300 Eve. And then, of course, Laz's Rome is usually at around 5 p.m. Central Time. So it'll be, 3 p.m. PST?
My room starts at 2300.
2300 Eve on Wednesday, so tune in again there.
And Subday Sunday, all day tomorrow. I'm hoping. That's the goal.
Has the schedule been set?
The goal is all day tomorrow, Subday Sundays. Laz will probably be playing some Eve. If I get a block, I'm not sure exactly what's happening with time blocks. If I get a block, I'll probably end up playing League of Legends. I'll let you guys choose champions if you want to, or game modes. Laz can fly spaceships that you guys choose. I don't know what else, but
It would be funny if the subscribers put Laz in, something terrible, like one of the hosts.
Wow. This is the first time it's gone the other way. Like, it's usually me dropping shit on you. Touche, friend. Touche.
Thank you. I'm learning from the greats very slowly. Between you and Darius Johnson constantly just pouring a river of shit on me eventually.
Eventually you gotta pick something up out of that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Learn a trick or two.
Man.
All right, boys and girls. Well, on that note, with me getting one of my very few burns in successfully, we will see you next week. Thank you so much for tuning in. Once again, send us a message on Twitch if you won one of these confessors, and make sure to send us a message on Twitch if you're one of our subscribers and have an idea for an emote that you'd like to see. And we will see you next week. Have a good one.
Bye, everyone.